Staying Alive UK. Share your story.
Hello and welcome to the Share Your Story podcast series, a business biography, their story so far. I'm Michael D. Groot and I'm your host. My purpose through this podcast series is to inspire you to take the next step towards your new business venture or indeed develop your existing business even further. I only interview business owners who employ less than 9 employees, and mostly they will be on their own. So let's get straight to it. And today I'm delighted to say that I've got with me on the podcast Tamas Banki. Tamas Banki is Dr. LinkedIn, the #1 LinkedIn consultant in Hungary and Romania. Tamas has helped over 3,800 professionals, students, marketing, HR, sales and business people, companies, schools and non-profits in many different sectors and industries to use LinkedIn more efficiently. He's one of the most connected members on LinkedIn Hungary and has over 13,000 connections. Tamas owns the largest and most viral business group in Hungary, which has over 6,900 members, and he also owns the largest and most active English-only passive house group on LinkedIn, which has over 3,900 members. He is the co-host of LinkedIn Budapest Meetup and LinkedIn Romania Meetup. Tamas, welcome to the Share Your Story podcast. How are you today?
Thanks very much. I'm brilliant.
Excellent. I'm so glad you could join us today. And I've got a few questions that I'd like to ask you just so that we can hear your story. And I'm so excited because you are the first Hungarian that I've got on the show. So
thanks very much.
Yeah, this is brilliant. So to get us started, what I'd like to do is just travel back in time a little bit. And why don't you share with the listeners a little bit about your personal life, where you were born, where you now live, maybe a bit about your family, your hobbies, your interests, just a little bit of personal information just to get people a picture about who Tamas is and where he's come from.
Well, thank you very much. I was born in Hungary, in Budapest, and I'm living here. I was traveling. I was in the United States, in Ireland, in Israel, but I always came back. So I'm a very Budapestian person. I was living in different parts of the city, and they are really different words, actually. So my studies, I went to universities, but I'm not a very classical educated person, so I don't have 3 diplomas and 1 PhD in this and 1 master and an MBA. So I'm more a self-educated person with some nice library at home, but I'm not one of these really highly educated business persons in the world. So to know some basic information about me, I was the first rickshawala. I was the first rickshaw entrepreneur here in Hungary. I was a bicycle messenger. I was doing in many different countries. I was doing dishwashing. I was doing it in Ireland, in the United States, in Israel, also here in Hungary. So I have maybe a PhD of dishwashing.
Yeah, that's good.
I did black washing and I did glass washing as well. So I'm a very skilled dishwasher.
Oh, brilliant. What is black washing?
Well, the kitchen stuff comes.
Yeah.
That's dirty. That's the black. The dirtiest part of washing. So glasses are, maybe there are some lipstick on it, and that's the whole dirt on it, or some fingerprints. But if you are washing what comes out from the kitchen, that's dirty, that's black, that burnt in stuff in it.
So the pots and pans.
Pots and pans, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
And you
that's
never
the
see the
horrible
sun.
stuff. Yeah, that's the horrible stuff.
No, well, not really. Actually, when I was doing that in Ireland, and your physical part of your body is 100% under. You work hard and you can think. It's a brilliant part of your life that you can think in that part of your time when you're working and washing the pots. So I organized the Hungarian Film Week while I was doing dishwashing. And there was a very nice event in Dublin back in 2001 when there were some 8 Hungarian films shown in the Irish Film Centre, and the guy who was organizing it was doing dishwashing. But it's like so many people did this, and I meet so many people, and I don't know, like 30% of the people were doing dishwashing sometimes in their life for a living.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, the film week is another part of my history. I was working in many different motion picture things. I was working in TV. I was working in film. I mean, real film for Bela Tarr, who is quite famous. And I was also working in the Hellboy, which was a very bad movie, but it was horrible. But I was working there, and
so did you star in these movies, or did you work in the background?
I worked in the background.
What did you do?
With Bela Tarr, I was his second assistant of director. In the TV, I was a first assistant of director. Actually, the director didn't call us assistants, but called us partners. So we had the director to direct the movie we were creating that time. So
Tamas, before you go any further, that's really super interesting. But how did you go from blackwashing and glass washing to the film and TV industry? How did you make that transition? What happened?
I was first in the film, and then I went to dishwashing.
Oh, right.
So there were different times of my life doing dishwashing. I was after finishing high school, I went to Israel and I worked in the kitchen area and the dishwashing area in a kibbutz. Then I came home. I did some things. I worked for TV, and then I was doing back and forth many times in many different parts of my life. I was working in hotels. I was working in TVs. I was working in films, but they are not like film, then dishwashing, and then hotel. But it was all mixed up. And then I became a real job hopper. What is now normal, that the Y generation and the millennials and the post-millennials, what we call here Z generation, they are job hoppers. Now it's normal, but back in the 90s and early 2000s, they didn't really like the way I acted.
No.
And then I started to work for a building industry magazine, and there we had many passive house related articles, and I asked my bosses, the editor-in-chief and her bosses, whether they would like to have a LinkedIn group for passive houses. Yes. And they said no. So I said, okay, I create my own. And actually, the logo was designed by the previous owner of the magazine I was working for, but the magazine collapsed during the crisis. And because of that, I had to find some new job. I don't know if you know about Baron Munchausen.
Yes.
So I was like him. I had to pull myself out of the mud holding my own hair. And this was LinkedIn. Actually, thanks to TEDx Danubia, which is a brilliant TEDx event here in Hungary, I'm still the official tweeter. So I'm sitting there and tweeting about the event. And the organizers of the event became the organizers of a online business communication training, which became a very, very valuable and very high class learning possibility here in Budapest. And I became the LinkedIn trainer of that training. And because of that, my career started. So this is the only part of my life when I'm doing the same thing for over 5 years.
Mm.
So I was never working in one workplace for more than 2.5 years, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So like, I think in the Holocaust Memorial Center, I was working for 3 years.
Yeah.
But that was like, I was the gopher, so the guy who was sent here and there.
Yes.
So this is the only job in my life, being a LinkedIn trainer. When I do it full-hearted, 24/7, and happily, and only this, nothing else.
Yeah. So the company that you worked for, what was it called? Passive House?
No.
No.
The company was called. It's a very well-known Hungarian magazine publishing house.
Oh yes, yeah.
Called HVG, which is like, it doesn't matter. So this HVG owned a magazine called Bautrend, Building Trends, and they were organizing many passive house events, and they were writing a lot about passive houses.
And what does passive house mean? What is it?
Okay. A passive house is a very well insulated building.
Right.
If you know, there are these insulation classes, A plus and A plus plus and A plus plus plus.
Yes.
So passive house is A plus plus plus.
Right.
It's a very, very well insulated building. You can actually do flat as well from inner insulation, but that's very expensive. But anyway, this is a little bit more expensive than a regular building. But in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your investment comes back.
Sure.
So after that, you live for freely. You don't have to pay many heating and cooling.
Yeah. Because
actually cooling needs 3 times more energy than heating. So heating 1 degree Celsius up needs, cooling 1 degree Celsius is 3 times more energy than heating 1 Celsius.
Sure.
So it's very, very important to insulate even in hot areas, hot countries.
Yeah.
So Spain. That's why it's very important that my group is the largest English language group, that there is a much bigger Spanish language group.
Right.
Because the Spanish world the Latino world is using passive house a lot, because they know that it's at the investment part it's a little bit higher, but on the ROI, the ROI, it's much better.
Yeah. So what I'm intrigued, because you don't work for the magazine anymore. They didn't want a group started on LinkedIn, didn't. So you started it.
Yes.
And so what is your interest? Do you get some business leads out of this group? What is your interest in continuing with this group?
Nothing. I have a manager. Okay. And we agreed that we are not going to advertise. I mean, he told me that if I'm going to advertise, he's going to resign. And I said, okay, I want to have the group, and he is a professional in it. Yeah. His name is Aaron Bunnell. Very strange name. He was living in the UK. He's an English guy. Yeah. But he moved down to New Zealand now. Okay. And Aaron told me that either advertisement or him. And I said him, because it gives me a kind of personal brand strengthening thing. Yeah. That there are 3,000-4,000 people, business people, professionals who know my name. Yeah. And if so I'm actually giving it for free. Yeah. And if they need something, they might come to me. Sure. If not, I'm not unhappy, because I don't know what do I lose.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so by being involved in that group, that got you more interested in LinkedIn, is that correct? How did your interest in LinkedIn get fired up? What was it?
When I worked for this magazine, which collapsed and closed down, right. I was using 4 different, that time we didn't know it's called social media, but I used 4 social media platforms. Yeah. To share our content. I was using one Hungarian that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. I was using Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. There were maybe 50,000 users in Hungary on LinkedIn that time. There were globally 40 million users. So by percentage, we were quite high. Mm-hmm. And Twitter in Hungary is very low. I mean, in Eastern Europe, Twitter is not used. No. So I have a Twitter account. Actually, I have, 8 Twitter accounts, but they are pointless to have, just because, I open them and I have them. Yeah. And I'm not really using Twitter outside of sharing my content, but I never read Twitter, and it didn't become a habit here in this part of the world. We use mainly Facebook Messenger, or I use Slack, but I'm a real evangelist for Slack. Yes. But Slack is not very known as well. Okay. And I was using Facebook. Facebook had really not too many users that time, because we had the Hungarian social media platform that was very, very used. Mm-hmm. That started in 2002. LinkedIn started 2003, and Facebook started 2004. But till 2007, Facebook was not international. So that time. I started working for this magazine in 2008, so we had 1 year to grow to Facebook. Yeah. So we maybe had 20,000 users of Facebook. I don't know the numbers, but I know that 2011, when I started the trainings on this training course, there were 150,000 Hungarian users of LinkedIn.
Right.
And
how many now?
800,000.
Wow.
And what is very important that LinkedIn exists in many languages, some 24 languages, I think, but not in Hungarian.
No.
So this is a very, very large number because the Hungarians don't speak foreign languages.
No.
Our language doesn't belong to any of the families. Our language is somehow related to Finnish and Estonian, but I cannot speak to them.
No.
It's not like if you're Dutch, you can speak to a German and the German slightly understands you, or you can talk to an English.
No, definitely not.
They slightly understand you,
yeah.
Or you can at least read, even if you don't learn the other language. If you don't learn Norwegian, most probably you can read Norwegian. You can understand the main picture.
Yeah.
Even in Norwegian. If I read Romanian, as I speak English and I know many Latin words from English, I can somehow see something from the big picture.
Yeah.
As I learned Russian for 8 years, it was mandatory in the school. The time when I was in the school, I can somehow see something from Slovakian, Czech, Polish, Serbian, Croatian, Slovenian, but I don't understand them. So our language is a very closed something, and it's not very easy to get out. And the language learning and teaching system is very, very bad here.
Yeah.
So that 800,000 people, they don't speak English. I mean, let's say maybe 1/3 or 1/4 of them speaks English. The other, they struggle with the language, with any languages. So this 800,000 is a very, very large number. I'm just in talk with LinkedIn nowadays about translating LinkedIn to Hungarian, because that would be a huge market in advertisement, as in the premium categories. I mean, premium packages. So it's a gold mine here.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
For LinkedIn.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get back to, we got a little bit distracted then, but let's get back to your getting into LinkedIn and deciding that that's what you wanted to get involved with. So you were working for the magazine folded, you had some experience on LinkedIn, but you were posting to Facebook, to Twitter. So how did you decide to run your own business using, LinkedIn or teaching about LinkedIn?
I love to help and I love to earn money. And I saw that there are so many Facebook teachers. I said, I don't want to be one of them. And there are so many SEO teachers, and there are so many online marketing teachers. And I liked all these stuff, but I didn't really feel at home. On LinkedIn, I realized that this is my place. I'm not a very good businessman, but I like much better this platform than any of the others. I like that it's not full of little kitties and about people. Well, on Facebook, you know what happens on Facebook.
Sure.
And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was using Facebook far too much, and I, not at the very beginning, but by 2011, I was. It was already. wasting your time. And I said, oh, so good. On LinkedIn, you don't have this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy to tell people what the heck LinkedIn is. And just and the day before yesterday, I was talking to a journalist who understands LinkedIn and everything, but he's not a member. And he asked me, why should he, being a 68 years old journalist, be on LinkedIn? And I couldn't really answer it, because if you don't want to use a tool, I cannot force you using it. If you don't want anything from your life but happy where you are, then most probably you shouldn't use LinkedIn.
Well, as a journalist, he's missing out, because LinkedIn is the largest publisher in the world.
Yeah, but yes, in English.
Yes, absolutely.
But we have a language which is not English.
No, I know.
And he's working for a Hungarian language business magazine. There is a good part that there is all the information, and all the information are valid information and true information about the business people. Because I had customers on the other side who is like the CEO of Siemens in Hungary, and the reason why he wanted to have a professional LinkedIn profile is to show what he wants to show to media, and not let the media collect all different stories about him, but have everything written there, and to let them know what is his past. Okay, I understand that it never gets so personal as mine, and he's not going to have full information, because he is still the CEO and the president of the German Chamber of Commerce here in Hungary. So he's a top-notch person, but his information are there, and he needs to have LinkedIn.
Sure.
And if you are a good journalist, you can go in and send him an email, and you can get there much faster.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't want to do that, then I cannot tell him how good it is. Even if I tell this, then he says, okay, but. And whenever there are the okay buts, then you say, okay, I don't need to push this. If he doesn't want, he doesn't want.
Absolutely,
so
yeah. Okay.
Why waste my time on him?
Yeah. So back to how you got. What was the decision to say, okay, you want to help people, you want to earn some money, and then so what made you decide, right, I'm going to run my own business using or teaching LinkedIn?
I still had my company from being a rickshaw entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I kept the company for being a LinkedIn guy.
Yeah.
And because I was teaching at this very well-known institute called Kurt Academy, with their brand, I could go much easier toward my path than being alone. So getting their brand power, brand strength with me, I thought I can go on. So that was the main issue. And the other is that I was a job hopper. I had no MBAs, no PhD, nothing. So I wasn't a very demanded employee for anyone. So either I could wait another year or two to get a job or do something for myself.
Yes.
And this was the main decision-making issue, that I had to do something.
Yes.
And there was a tool in my hand that I still have only one competitor in the country. So and there are only maybe 2 or 3 in Romania.
Right.
So it's not like the United Kingdom where there are, I don't know, 20 or 30 people, but
Far more.
you still have business.
Far more, yeah.
Okay, let's say 200, but
Yeah, at least.
you have 20 million users.
Yes.
So come on, it's still. And I used to tell to my wife, I can go wherever I want because there is still a lack of LinkedIn trainers. There are some very well-known LinkedIn trainers here and there, but not everyone can afford Viveka or Victoria Ypres or I'm sure that I know things different or maybe even better than one or the other of these because they know some part of LinkedIn. We all know some part of LinkedIn. For instance, if someone comes to me about Sales Navigator or Recruiter, I have nothing to say because I never used that tool. If someone comes to me about job posting or advertising, I'm quite okay with that. And if I'm not, I can still ask. But yeah, mainly this is the reason why I talk to LinkedIn that we cannot advertise in Hungarian on LinkedIn.
Sure.
So that's a horrible thing. Officially, you cannot advertise. Sometimes some people can advertise.
Yes.
But then it's like, what? How come that this person can advertise and I cannot advertise in Hungarian? Because I'm more visible, so they check my things better. Come on, it's not very professional, but this is how LinkedIn works.
I know. Okay, so you got started then to train people. There was a massive market there that you could go after. Not many people doing that. So it was still a bit of a risk, right? So, yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm a pioneer. I was pioneering with my rickshaw stuff as well. I closed my rickshaw stuff, and then 2 years later, there were 20 rickshaw companies. So I was doing it for 4 years alone. I closed down, and then came 20. So I made the market.
Yes.
And now it's quite the same. We made the market with this other guy, and now we see people are using our words.
Yes, of course.
What can I do?
So share with us, Tamas, what have been some of the challenges then in running your own business?
It's often at the very beginning, no one know who am I. I didn't have any background, any real strong background of blogging or writing a book or doing lectures. So it was really starting slow, and I was. There is one thing I really recommend everyone to do is advertising. I didn't do. I did everything organically. So I didn't invest money, but I invested time. You can do this way as well. I was lucky because our family is quite okay with wealth. I could do this, but usually people cannot afford so much time on things than I did.
Yes.
So advertisement and content. So I started blogging. After I was blogging, people started calling me for helping this and that. So, and then they were word of mouth thing through their network about me. And then I started to become a LinkedIn open networker. I know many people do not agree with me from the LinkedIn expert world, but I think that if I have a large network, I can always go further than if I had a closed network of few hundred people. So as I started growing my network, more and more people got know about me, even here in Hungary, not only in Bangladesh and India. As usually the LinkedIn Open Networker word is based on the Indian and the Bangladeshi and the Pakistani networks. But I would be very happy to go there and teach people there about LinkedIn. I wasn't there. The eastern part of my life was the Dead Sea, so I could go eastern.
Sure.
I would be happy to be there.
Sure.
So as I started to grow my network, more and more people started to know about me. As I was blogging, more and more people know that I know what I'm talking about. And when I published my book, which is, I didn't sell many of it, but people got know about that there is a LinkedIn book and this guy was writing about it.
Yeah. Great.
And so there was one very smart thing from me. I think that when I wrote that book, I asked LinkedIn to approve the title. Because now my brand is Dr. LinkedIn, which is, well, very close to the word LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So I really, I didn't really want to get in any trouble.
No.
So I said, I go in front of the trouble. If the trouble is there, then we can talk and we can find a solution. So I wanted to call the book the LinkedIn book. And they suggested to have the Hungarian LinkedIn handbook. And I'm still very happy with that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's really a handbook. It's like 150 pages because I cannot write long. I can talk long, but I cannot write long because I want to write as long as I would read.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you.
I cannot write, I don't know, one day I wrote 1,700 words, something, but that's so long. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. So, but usually I write like less than 300 words, which is, by Google, it's not a blog post. It's even shorter than that.
It's a Twitter post.
Yeah, it's maybe a Tumblr post.
Yes.
But a microblog. I'm a microblogger because I think that if I need more words for something, then I shouldn't start it, or I should do a mini series of microblogging of that.
Yeah. So okay, so some of the challenges there you're sharing with us. What about some of the highlights then in running your own business?
Running my own business is that your boss is yourself, and you argue with yourself many times, but you can never blame anyone else but yourself. And it's brilliant. I see all these people working for huge companies and they blame the boss and the employers and the managers and everything. Come on. It's you who do the thing. It's here with me, myself, and I can blame myself alone.
Yeah.
And there isn't the trouble and the feeling of, someone caused me this trouble. Oh, it's me. And it's so much easier.
Yeah.
So this was a very good thing. And whenever you gain something, you have a new client, a client who is very well known, like the CEO of Siemens, which is that's really building you up and gives you a super duper feeling. I was today I got a job offer and I could say no, and that was so good.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much involved in politics here in Hungary. I recommend you not to do it up until you are followed by many people. If you are followed by many people, then you have the responsibility to do it, I think. I have my mission to make Hungary better. And the funny thing that the governing party is using this slogan as well. But I don't agree with them.
No.
And anyway, I like to be my own boss. A bit more time management would help me a lot. I'm working in a co-working area. I recommend you to rent an office if you can. But if not, go to a co-working area and never work at home. I mean, most probably many of the people saw that very funny BBC sketch when the highly educated policymaker or security politician is talking on BBC and the children are coming in.
That's right, yes.
So, and I didn't really like the guy because he wasn't. He started to act like he's still the very important guy, and not as a father. You asked me to tell about my personal background. I'm a very happy father of two. So,
oh, lovely.
I'm very often at home. I'm very often staying at home half a day or full days just with my children. But and yes, this is brilliant. I'm my boss, so I can go and do whenever I want to be with them.
I think that's a great highlight of running your own business, definitely.
But you shouldn't work at home or close the door. But office and work is not a home thing for me.
No.
I did it for many times, but you do it in pajamas and in your slipper, and you go out, do the dishwashing and do the washing and hang out the clothes and collect it and do the ironing instead of doing your job. And your partner asks you to do this and that, and then you cannot say no. But you are at home. Come on, you can do it. Huh? And I was like, yes, I'm at home, but I'm working. But come on, it's 5 minutes. And I just read somewhere that getting back to the focus, you need 23 minutes. And you can focus on something, the longest is 90 minutes. So if you start working, the best thing is put your phone away, not having ringing or not having the push notifications, or switch all the push notifications off, and then you can read whenever you want. I went to a course of Get Things Done, the GTD, and they say that you have to have certain period of time for certain things, and I like the way they think it. I don't work like that, but if someone can, that's so good to know when you are emailing, when you are paying your bills, when you are doing the phone calls, then when you are watching the tutorial videos, when you are reading about your topic, when you are writing your blog. And if you can do this and follow it, then you have to invest less time and be still organic. But if someone can afford, that would be the best to do a lot of content and advertise. And I think this is the way you can get quickly in front of people. If you have the content, then the content can still work later on. And what I love in blogging the most is that I Google search and I find my own blog. And I can read and I can learn from myself.
That's right.
Because GTD says also, and I love it, don't try to remember everything. That's why they are having always a little notebook and a pen. And everything what you write with your hand, you can somehow, in the way you write, you put some GPS coordinates on it, even time coordinates, so you can easier remember what you were thinking of when you did this note. If you write it with your hand, than if you will write it in your mobile phone or on your laptop or on your tablet. So handwriting is very, very important.
Yeah. Do you know what happens when you're handwriting in your brain?
Most probably it's a micromotoric movement.
Yeah.
So there are many movements resonating in your brain, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're literally, it's a little bit like you're putting it, if you imagine that the brain is Google, and when you're writing with your hand, you're literally writing that on a branch in your neurons in your brain, like a keyword, like a search term, like, you know, it's like a web page in your brain, basically. And I've done some work with a mind mapping expert. His name is Barry Mapp. And
Barry Mapp?
Mapp, yeah. That's his real name. And he's a mind mapping expert. And Barry, I've done a course with him on Udemy, and it's the fastest selling mind mapping course there. But I use mind mapping for learning stuff. Because again, you're writing it, not computerized mind mapping, but handwritten mind maps, because you will remember more of what you've written on your mind map, because you're literally putting it in your brain. So yeah, that is really good advice. So all these aspiring business owners that are listening, start making notes about what business you want to be running, you know, who you want your clients to be, how much you want to make, how big you want to be, how small you want to be. Start writing it down rather than typing it, because you'll remember it more and it will activate more in your brain. So great advice. Okay, listen, we've only got a few minutes left, so I've got a couple more questions.
Okay.
And the first question is, do you have a vision for your business? What's the future look like for Dr. LinkedIn?
Well, at the moment, Dr. LinkedIn is teaming up actually with someone, and we are going to become Smart Hunt. Smart Hunt is going to help Hungarian employers to find the right employee, but we are going to do organizational development. So maybe we can find inside the organization, and we are going to do a smarter hunt than the hunters do, because we are social media experts. My partner is a Facebook expert, and he's a market researcher. So we have much better skills than the regular recruiters. I know how to use LinkedIn. He knows how to use Facebook, and also Twitter. We know somehow to use. So this is one thing. The other thing is finishing my second book. But as being a father, I just simply, the most important at the moment is to have to spend time with them. So the job is a second line thing now. My children are very little. I mean, 2 years old and 8 months young.
Wow.
So the 2 years old is the older boy. So I'm a quite old father. I'm 45, so I'm not one of the 20s. So I'm more of a grandpa-ish, over-loving father.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little bit more into family now.
Of course.
But as my content is growing and as my known my personal brand is growing, business is coming, so I'm not going for the business.
Yes.
If I was going, I'm sure I could do much more. If I was advertising myself, I'm sure I would do more. About the growth, I don't always believe in growth.
No.
There was two very, very strange parallels. Sorry for that, but there were two bicycle messenger companies in Budapest. One was saying, grow as big as we can, and the other say, we have 10 messengers, full stop. We won't ever have more than 10. And they still could earn, but that was so much more sustainable than the growing one. Because the growing one, after the crisis, went down. The other one kept the 10 messenger always, and they still have 10 messengers.
Yes.
So I think you should know when to say no to clients, and when to say, hey, you can read it here, read it there. If you still have questions, come back. But then they can say that you are generous, you give them free knowledge, and you don't want to take the money of everyone. And most probably this could help, because that person is going to tell about you to someone else who might come back and pay more. Or you are, if you don't like someone, you shouldn't work with that person. So as we are our own bosses, we don't have to do things. We can do things.
Yes.
We may do things. So if you don't want to do something, don't feel bad. Say no.
I think that's great.
They are going to appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tamas, I've really enjoyed our chat. Thank you so much. You've given the listeners who are aspiring business owners a lot to think about there. So if people wanted to get in touch with you and connect with you, where do they find you? How can they get hold of you?
I'm on LinkedIn, obviously.
Yes.
So linkedin.com/in/Tamas Banki is my LinkedIn URL. And everyone is welcome, and I would really love to have more and more connections. I still have 17,000 to go up until 30,000, which is the end of the network you can build on LinkedIn. Yeah. So I still have many. I hope we have 17,000 listeners. So
you never know.
You never know.
I hope so too. So, and where else? On LinkedIn?
Well, Facebook is very close for me.
Yeah.
Twitter, in this part of the world, Twitter is not working. So I use it for content sharing, but I hardly ever read Twitter.
You were quite active yesterday at the TEDx.
Yes, but that's not every year, every day.
No,
but
I know.
It was only content sharing.
That's
so
right.
I was not reading. I'm not reading. This is here in this part of the world. Twitter is, well, the numbers. There are 600,000 Twitter registrations in Hungary, which is not growing but shrinking. A year ago, it was 611,000. So 11,000 gone, and only 2% of the of the registered are active.
Wow.
1% is children, and the other percent is media guys and girls. So media people. So it's like 12,000 people.
Yes.
Come on, why?
And okay, so Twitter, forget about. What about your website?
Oh yes, I have drlinkedin.com.
Of course.
And also email is fine for me. So it's let's say that, and the easiest would be Tamas at drlinkedin.com.
And if in doubt, just Google Dr. LinkedIn and they'll find everything about you.
Yeah, most probably, yes.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. Well, Tamas, thank you so much for your time. It's really been fantastic speaking to you. And I'm sure one day we will meet in person, hopefully.
Oh, yes. I would love to come to the UK one day. But if you are back home in Holland, that would be even better.
Okay,
because
brilliant.
You are Brexiting people, come on. We are European. And I'm sorry for all the listeners, but being alone, yes, as we are business people, it's okay. But being alone as a market, it's not okay. It's okay, you are quite a big market, the United Kingdom, but the European market is much bigger. So I really don't understand why people want to get out of the EU. I used to. My favorite movie is one of the favorites is The Life of Brian, and I love when they are arguing about what did they got from the Roman Empire.
Yes,
and you got something from the European Union as well.
Okay, I won't respond to that, and I won't go into that politics discussion. Thank you so much for your time again. It's been fascinating to hear your story, and we'll meet each other, I'm sure, very, very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael.
Staying Alive UK. Share your story.